up, everybody? Welcome back to the Game Junction Podcast. We are here for episode 102. Are we good, Mark?
No, yeah, we're good on this side now that we, constant issues with OBS and Twitch and my computer for whatever reason, but hey, we're finally live.
Well, yeah, we're here for 102, episode 102. Yeah, there's been quite a bit this week, so I know we're talking some Tokyo Game Show, right?
Yeah, definitely a lot of news, still coming out that's still going on this week and this weekend. So, but it's just a lot of news dropped this week in general, from the beginning of the week till ongoing all weekend long. So,
Yeah,
lots to talk about.
Yeah, a lot to talk about. We got some sad news, some good news, some interesting stuff, some hot topics and debates with some garbage companies, and yeah, we got all kinds of stuff in the gaming and pop culture realm to talk about this week. I guess we'll go ahead and start off with we got some sad news, so we'll go ahead and get that out of the way. Unfortunately, so we got Dame Maggie Smith has passed away at age 89. So she was Professor. I always forget how to say the name.
McGonagall. That's not even wrong.
She's in Harry
Professor
Potter.
Now you got me messed up my words.
My bad.
McGonagall, is that right? How you say it?
I legitimately don't remember. For some reason, I didn't remember that being the name. But if you saw her, you'd know who it is. You would know instantly. I'm confused why I don't remember that being the name of the. I don't know. Anyway, she's in a bunch of stuff, man. So, Downton Abbey, which is a very, very popular series. She played Countess Violet Grantham. But obviously, Harry Potter was one of her biggest roles. Yeah. Like I said, if you saw her, you know who she is. Very iconic character. She played the character very well. She definitely came off as straight to the point. No bull crap. Yeah, didn't joke. You never saw her laugh, smile, any of that stuff in the series, which was that character. She did it very well.
I don't know how good she is in the book, because I never read the books, but just a no nonsense, straight to the point. You're here to learn, not goof off type teacher.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and she has that kind of look too, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. It says she passed away in a London hospital, as reported by the BBC. Yeah, so there was I saw a bunch of tributes come out today. She was also in the prime of Miss Jean Brodie, and she's in that in 1969, which is wild.
It's old.
That's crazy. But yeah, we saw Daniel Radcliffe put out a tribute and said that she was a legend.
Yeah, Mr. Coffee was saying, remember her from Death on the Nile in '78 and Sister Act as well. I don't know if you've seen either of those movies.
Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg's in Sister Act. Man, I don't know if you could do that movie in 2024. I don't think you could.
I don't know why not.
It would offend people. I want to do all that. But yeah, we definitely wanted to mention that. That's sad, that she did get to live a long life, and it sounds like she had, had some pretty great experiences. And I had no idea, that she was in things in the 60s, which is wild. So she's been acting for a very long time.
Yeah, probably most of her life at this point, up until fairly recently, I guess. That last 10, 15 years.
Right. Yep. So, that's unfortunate. It's sad. We also got more Switch 2 rumors. So what do you think on this? We've got we got a quote unquote launch date, which this lines up with everything that we talked about last week and have talked about before. But we got something that came out, a rumor saying that it's going to launch in March or April of 2025.
Yeah, I think that's what we've all been around there. I think they say it could hit as early as March 3rd, because I think that's around March is when we got it, when the Switch originally launched, the month it was in. I think that's just kind of what we're hearing. Obviously, that's a lot of rumors, but If all this is to actually believed and it is going to eventually be true, I think it really comes down to probably kind of what we expected. Sometime next month is when we expect to hear about the Switch 2, Switch successor, the Switch something, whatever they're going to ultimately call it. But I mean, yeah, if this is accurate, it's kind of what we've been hearing and thinking about for quite a while now.
Yeah, I think it lines up. When we got the rumor that it was going to be delayed to next year, we instantly pretty much thought Q1, right? Because, I mean, that seemed even late then. And originally, we thought, it was going to come out this year. But that rumor, I mean, it seems like it's accurate. It's obviously not coming out this year.
Yeah, you just would have heard about it by now. But,
yeah.
I mean, I guess early next year, like second quarter, late first quarter, early second quarter, isn't the worst window because not a lot is coming out. Most people drop their big thing fourth quarter for the holiday season, so it's not like it would have a whole lot to compete against. Plus, it's got time to get the diehards out of the way for 2025 holiday season.
One of the good things is it doesn't have to compete with the PS5 Pro at all, so it's got a good length of time there because, I mean, that launches October 10th.
You wonder if the rumor... Then again, I don't know how well the PS5 Pro is going to do and how much it would would the Switch actually be competing with a midlife upgrade?
I don't think so. I don't think it would actually be competing with it. It might affect some sales, I'm sure.
But like, how hard? I assume this is going to be under $500, competing with an $800 console. For something that's like half the price.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think like it's a direct competition to it at all, but it might affect a few sales.
But I think
a little chunk, a very small chunk, but not much.
I think it's negligible. But that's just my opinion.
But I mean, it is away from that. I don't think it has anything to do with that. Obviously, we heard about that rumor of it being delayed before we even knew about the PS5 Pro.
Do you think we'll hear about this sometime in the next 2 weeks, though? Then around
I think we have
the museum.
I think, yeah, we talked about that on the 10byte podcast.
Yeah, because I know, is it Mustache Gaming? I'm sorry,
Thunderstash.
I knew it was Stash. I didn't have it pulled up, and that's my bad. I apologize.
You were tuning in when we were talking about that, right?
Periodically, when I was able to, but I know because when he was on, like, I think at least the last 2 times he was on, he brought it up, and that was like where he was sitting there thinking around the museum and stuff like that. So I think if he's right, you're right. Within like the next 2 weeks, we're going to hear about it. But I think sometime next month, it just makes sense because you probably want a good 6-month window of just building up hype and advertising and stuff like that to get everybody excited, ready. And then alongside hearing this coming out, I guess the big news is what games are going to launch beside it. Because I know we already know we're not going to get a Zelda game. We just got a spinoff game, and there's just not been enough time since the last.
It's not a spinoff game, but it is a mainline game.
It's a mainline, but not in the way you'd think of like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom type style game.
No, I think we're not getting a new 3D Zelda until probably like 2028, like a new 3D
probably
Zelda.
a few years in, just because the timelines is going to be there. But it's been a while since we've had a mainline Mario game. Been thinking that now with sometime next year that Metroid 4 comes out, would make sense for it to line up with it.
Yeah,
type thing, and then maybe 1 or 2, because Nintendo's not been known to launch more than 4 or 5 games at launch.
Of big games, because like they rely on third party with that too, right? To have third party launches with it, and usually it's either 1 or 2 mainline game, or
and then like maybe
Nintendo
1 or 2
games,
like spin-off games or smaller third party games, but it's like 1 or 2 system seller launches.
Yeah, and I think that has to be either the next 3D Mario or Metroid Prime 4. Metroid Prime 4 would make sense because
it would boost sales
into 2025.
It would boost. I'm just thinking it would drastically not only get the Metroid series out there, but just boost the sales by being one of a handful of games at launch. Even if it's not like the main system seller, say that's a Mario game. If you only have a handful of games coming out at launch, a lot of people are probably going to pick it up as a that's the only really different game from like a Mario platformer to a more first-person shooter type game.
Yeah, I think it's important for them to have a 3D Mario at launch because Metroid's not going to sell systems by itself. We know that,
but maybe
it's not going to.
I guess the idea is maybe launching it just gets the game in front of more people, and more people into the Metroid series as a whole would be beneficial. Like you've got to find a way to help it's lined up this way, and it would help generate hype for a series that maybe a lot of people haven't played. They get a taste of this game, and then they start spreading out to other older games, maybe.
Yeah, and are you still thinking a possible cross-gen with Metroid Prime 4? Because I think like
that's a guarantee at this point. But then again,
I feel like
know.
It has to be, because you can't count on just a Switch 2, a brand new install base for Metroid Prime 4. I feel like you can't at this point. I feel like you can't do that.
It's not big enough, but I think for a lot of people, if they're gonna they plan on getting the Switch successor, are you really gonna get it for your old hardware, or if you plan on getting the new one, you're just gonna get it with your new hardware type thing? But I think it's a guarantee. It has to launch on both at this point.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think that's potentially one of the reasons they got so delayed, is because they knew they were going to do that. I mean, you got a separate team for something we're working with DLSS, and then you've got the old Switch 2017 hardware that you got to work with. So those are separated teams for sure.
All I'm thinking is
not running, it's going to be different.
It would make sense though if it ran significantly better. Unless the only thing I can think of is if there's a big enough
stable 60.
If there's a significant jump in hardware performance that maybe they somewhere in development they upgraded it to this, or they had a separate team working. So to launch on both, but like the ideal way to play it will be on the Switch 2, just because that's like what they like halfway through development they swapped to work on it on this one. So it's it's the same game, but it plays very different on both. I would say more not only frame rate, but the graphical fidelity will be extremely different on both hardware.
Yeah, with the DLSS, like that does cut down some of what they have to do for that, right? So I feel like, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know that it'll be a stable 60 for the frame rate. To me, frame rate matters more than visuals. I don't know about you, but high 4K doesn't matter. Yeah. So it's hard to say if it, runs at a stable 60, but I think it's going to affect both performance and visuals. DLSS is a big deal. So I think it's both. I think it's launch on both.
Yeah, I think it is too. But I'm hoping that, at least just me personally, just being a Metroid fan, that when this announces, that we definitely get that announcement, like, hey, for sure it's gonna be a launch title.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I don't know, because I plan on getting it, but that for sure would push it over the edge, where it's like, yeah, I'll get a Switch successor. Because I mean, to be fair, the original reason why I bought the Switch was for Metroid Prime 4 originally.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, are you planning day one for Switch? Are you going to try at least? I mean, I'm sure they're going to sell out. I'm sure of it. But
it's going to be
definitely try.
It's going to be a wait and see. I might, just because I don't know the price and the availability, I'll just have to wait and see, just because I don't know where I'm going to be at when it comes out. Need to wait and see what's going to come out. But there might be the chance I might push it back a little bit, just because I might have a few other things going on that might eat up some financial stuff. I don't know. Everything's kind of up in the air right now. It'll just be a wait and see. I will for sure get it. I just don't know if I'll get it like right at launch, or if I want to deal with trying to fight for it right at launch.
That's fair. And then these rumors did come out from a peripheral manufacturer. So this is from an executive at said company. I don't have the actual company name, but this is where apparently the leak came out of, and this is partially what we had talked about a little last week, but also talked about on the other podcasts significantly. But it looks like it just kind of came out and they kind of solidified, hey, this is what's happening. But it says that the consoles are done, according to this rumor, and they're ready to go. They're all finished, and it says, dropping sometime at the end of March or beginning of April. So we're not far away, realistically. But Mercado went on to support some other rumors and leaks about Nintendo Switch and said, yes, the magnetic Joy-Cons are accurate. So they're saying yes to that too. And then, talking, just solidifying the launch window. So, yeah, that's definitely interesting. I think that's pretty accurate to me. I mean, that's what I've been saying anyway. That's what a lot of other people have been saying. And it makes the most sense. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but I think that the Switch 1 launched in April of 2017, right? It was a Q1 drop as well. Or was that the Wii U? I can't remember which one.
I was pulling up. The Switch one the Switch launched March 3rd, 2017.
Okay, March.
So it was still Q1.
Nice. Yeah. So that makes sense. And I think the Wii U did too. I think it launched Q1.
Wii U launched November 18th, 2012.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
So yeah, because the Wii launched November 19th, 2006. So before the Switch, they were holiday launch windows.
Yeah. Makes sense. All right. Well, yeah, that's definitely interesting. So we solidified that. Now we get to talk about the PS5 Pro 30th Anniversary Edition. Pre-orders selling out immediately, and also people are getting their orders canceled. I tried to jump in on this to see if I could get through.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get through. I got through for the PS5 Pro, the normal one, but I wasn't able to order it right now. I have to wait.
Yeah,
I am planning to get it, but I'm gonna wait for the GameStop drop. So.
Yeah, no. Some people talking. This reeks of we're just gonna allow more pre-orders than what we actually are able to sell, and then we're just gonna cancel a handful of people's arbitrarily because we got too many pre-orders, so we have to get rid of some people's stuff.
Are you able to pull anything up by chance to show?
What do you want me to show exactly?
I would eBay to show what they're being sold for right now, like prices, because it's absolutely crazy. I saw some, and they're selling too. These aren't just asking prices. I'm gonna pull it up, but yeah, I saw. I was talking to somebody earlier. He's like, "Hey, did you see like what some of these are actually being sold for?" I saw the price listings, but I want to say I'm shocked, but I'm really not that they're selling for what they are. But some of the asking prices, like there's somebody on here that has the whole bundle that was $1,000 on here for $50,000 or best offer. There's other people for $4,000 or best offer, $3,600 or best offer. But then there's people that have the PS5 Pro, the normal one, up for $1,000, and it's a $700 console, so a $300 markup. But those aren't selling. Surprisingly, the PS5 Pro, the normal ones, stayed up for a long time. Because I checked like 4 hours later, and you could still get one. You had to go through the queue, but it was shorter. It didn't take as long. But when I got in the queue, I was on the minute that it hit 10 o'clock. I clicked on there, and it said the queue was going to be an hour. So it did actually take an hour to get through. And when I got through, you could get everything else but that bundle because it sold out immediately.
Yeah, I had to do some stuff around, but I can pull it up. It
wasn't
doing exactly what I do. It's I like move some stuff around.
But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. I want to say I'm shocked, but I'm not. With some of the prices that have actually sold.
Yeah.
Like there's some being bid on here for $3,500 right now, 40 bids, 3,000, 37 bids. It's crazy, man. And there's somebody that's got the controller on here for $175.
It's gonna make that larger. That way it's not stretched. But no, yeah, like a PS5 Pro for 37. Someone's got some on here for 50,000. Another for 3,000. 1,000, 2,300. Like it's crazy what some people are selling. It's the fact that I saw something on here for 50,000.
The $1,000 you got to keep in mind. That's just the console, right? And it was the bundle was originally $1,000. The whole bundle, everything. And that's just for the Slim. Like the $1,000, the $998, that's for the Slim console. That's not even for the PS5 Pro. Like a bunch of these $1,200, that's for the Slim digital. That's not even for the Pro. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, someone's got the they say deal of a lifetime PS5 Pro 30th anniversary pre-sale November 7th, 24, 50,000 or best offer.
Crazy, man.
From Chattanooga, Tennessee. But yeah, I see a lot of stuff closer like to the 1,000 to 3,000 range. But that's crazy. This one's got no bids, but there's one for 3,500 that's got 40 bids on it.
Yeah, that's insane.
That is crazy, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, the price is nuts, not surprised. But the crazy thing is that, yeah, people are getting some of their orders canceled. So, I don't know an actual reason why some of them are being canceled. I'm assuming that it potentially went over on what they actually had stock-wise because it's, limited to that number. But it says they were sending an email stating that the order for the PS5 Pro 30th Anniversary Edition had been canceled through the purchaser. Though the purchaser denies that they canceled it themselves. It seems there may have been some problems with processing the payment, as the email reportedly stated that the payment method did not work and user's account listed transaction reversal. So, yeah, what's your thoughts on this, the whole ordeal here?
Not surprised, but this is what happens when you do your stuff all online and not like at a physical store, just ripe for scalpers.
Yeah, it's just crazy, man.
But I'll say this: if you're paying that much money, if you're willing to pay that much money for a PS5 Pro, you deserve to get ripped off. I'm sorry, that's nobody should even be. That should be a thought. Like the PS5 itself plays just fine. You're not getting that much of a boost to where you should be paying anywhere. If you're gonna pay $3,500 for a PS5 Pro, spend $3,500 and get a high-end PC, and it'll play so much better for you.
The thing is, this isn't for the PS5 Pro. You got to keep in mind, 90% of people that are buying this are keeping it in the box as a collector's item. Because if you look at the 20th anniversary PS4 Pro, there was one that sold for like 40 grand.
Well, yeah, I guess some of these are the anniversary edition, but it's just a skin on hardware. It's not worth that much money.
Collectors are wild, man. Collectors are wild. But these are like whales buying them up. Like, who can afford that besides somebody that's got significant money?
All I'm saying, it doesn't even matter if this is the Pro or this is like the anniversary edition, because some of those were the anniversary edition. Kind of correct myself. You deserve to get ripped off if you're paying that much. Like, it's so stupid.
It is stupid. I agree. I don't understand that.
It's not worth that, because it's just a piece of I could make my own PS4 look like this by just getting an outside, just a new skin. Like, it's not that hard. It'd be extra work, arguably, but like they make it sound like, this is like you have to have it or the world's coming to an end. And I just think it's ridiculous and a waste of money.
One thing I will say I thought was kind of cool that I actually didn't know. Apparently 54 games at launch are getting PS5 Pro upgrades. So that's kind of cool. I didn't know there was that many at launch, which is good because that's better than I think the PS4 Pro.
Yeah, but like the PS4,
I expected just the 12 that they talked about.
The PS4 Pro is marginal. It's not like it did a whole lot new. It was just a little extra more hardware to make your stuff look better, run a little faster.
That one was even more marginal because this has the AI upscaling. So this has got DLSS. That's a whole different ballgame, right? But the PS4 Pro, it was so marginal that I don't think it even made sense to upgrade if you didn't already have one.
But even with the DLSS, I still think the upgrade is going to be marginal, and it's not worth the price of a brand new. Definitely not worth $3,500. At that point, a high-end PC will play 20 times better.
Well, you heard it here first. Mark does not like PlayStation. All right.
As I sit with a PS5 in my background.
That's a knockoff. That's a PlayStation, right?
Yeah, you wish.
All right, so I'm gonna let you take this one because I think you know a little bit more, and then I'll kind of give my opinion on what I know, but I want to hear what you got to say. So we're gonna talk about, I guess we can just encompass kind of all of this part if you want to, or we can leave the other part for later. I mean, it kind of all goes together.
I mean, we can kind of do all at the same time.
So we're talking Ubisoft this week, guys.
Yeah, shocker, everyone's been talking about it. So outside of the Assassin's Creed Shadow drama, there was apparently some Ubisoft France employees came out planning to strike. From my understanding, this is new today. Now this it's Ubisoft related, but this more has to do with the fact that Ubisoft came out and was like, you have to come back to the office. They were like hard nixing any kind of remote work, and people got comfortable to it. So they announced that 1,000 workers in their Paris office alone. Ubisoft has 1,000 workers. I don't know if we got a hard number, but the French union for their games industry is pretty much coming out there criticizing Ubisoft, and obviously supporting the workers not wanting to strike. Was trying to double check. So they were planning to strike on the 15th, 16th, and 17th to stop remote work. I don't really think it's going to probably change anything because we didn't get any hard word of like how many people actually plan to strike. But it's an argument. I get both sides of it. People want to do remote work. People want to do in-person work. But not everything is necessarily remote. And if you had to ask me personally, I'd rather go to work in an actual office. I hate doing work from home because I get far less work actually done. Plus, me personally, I like the social element of actually being in an office place, talking, interacting with other people. When I'm at home, it's just me, talking to myself. I just don't think it's as productive. But I don't know if you had anything to say about this or not.
I mean, about this specific part,
Yeah.
if it's about the remote work, I don't think that's a reason to go on strike, if you ask me.
So they did come out, and it was, so apparently their demands were on top of the what they call formal remote work, whatever that actually means, a salary increase and better social dialogue, which means absolutely nothing, to be honest.
What is that supposed to mean? Because I don't understand.
Who knows? Who cares? Maybe that's just me. But it's like, we want to work from home, and we want you to pay us more to work from home. The one thing that I could see potentially, because obviously a lot of jobs are in major cities, very expensive, especially with inflation and everything else driving the cost of just living in general. So I get, like, if you want to be able to work for a major company but live in a more rural area where it's just cheaper to live, but that kind of makes commuting impossible or a several hour round trip, which is just not practical on a day-to-day basis for the most part. So I get that, though I get not every job can be remote. There needs to be an amount. So I don't know, maybe the option is allow certain type of remote work. If a lot of people want to live in a more remote area, maybe open smaller offices not near the head office where you can still do in-person work, but you don't need to be in the middle of a metro city. It is France, so I don't know a lot of that stuff. But I mean, I'm sure for some people that matters, because it can, commuting to and from work for a whole year, gets expensive the more you have to commute and stuff like that. If you're not within walking distance, most people probably aren't, because it's ungodly expensive probably to live in downtown Paris, probably where their studio is.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean,
the salary increase, I think that's kind of up in the air, because if you're able to live somewhere cheaper but maintain your salary, and
we don't know
easier,
what they're being paid, so that's one thing.
Well, it's probably all over the place, because you probably have people high up and people at the very bottom of the rung that were doing some kind of remote work. So it's all over the place. And I can't speak for France, because I don't know where France is financially, but you should at least be getting pay raises every year to at least match the rate of inflation. That should be like a minimum standard, just because cost of living goes up. But I don't know. To be fair, we want more money. Ubisoft's very obviously not in a good, strong financial position, because they've had two major games launched this year, and they've both bombed drastically. So it's like, hey, we can pay more, but we've got to cut X amount of jobs type thing. There's criticism all around, but I don't know where their finances stand, so I can't make a decision on that. I'm just saying, realistically, assume you don't have a huge 20% increase in inflation. You should be getting raises to kind of match that. That way your wages match the increase in cost of living type stuff. But I'm kind of back and forth when it comes to the remote work, because I get it. For most people and for most jobs, you probably do need some kind of in-person work, but I don't have the numbers. I don't know if they're seeing a drop off in productivity or something else, or they just want people to come back to work. Obviously, COVID changed a lot of stuff like that, but
like you said earlier, people got comfortable with doing that, and I think that's the problem, right? Because before COVID, it wasn't that way. Work from home jobs, that was very rare. You know what I mean? And they didn't really know people that did that.
And they work, but I do know people, and I'm arguably one of them, that when you're working from home, your productivity very obviously drops off.
Yeah, I think that's different for everybody, because I know people that say that they, it increases, but I do know for like me, it depends, right? Like sometimes I'm that way. Sometimes where, productivity drops down a little bit for me. Some days are better than others. Because I do like a hybrid thing. I mostly work in person, but there's sometimes a day that I'll work from home. It just depends. I get it. I mean,
I guess you got to figure out what works for you. Every work environment's gonna be very different. This is not at Ubisoft. Trust me. I'll take any opportunity to crap on Ubisoft, because I absolutely hate them. And for the immediate future, I refuse to buy anything from them. I don't care how good the game actually is. Essentially, when Ubisoft came out and said
the other Ubisoft stuff?
You won't own it, and you're just not going to own your game type thing, that completely soured me. Yeah, we can go into that, but I mean, there's just a lot of, to me, unknowns to make an outside looking in. to be like, I don't know. Like, I get there's some level of drop off. Your game's kind of buggy, but your games have kind of always been buggy. But I just don't know a lot of the details. But I mean, both sides could be greedy for all I know, and just wanting what's best. So, kind of is what it is on that side of it.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to get and jump in the other Ubisoft stuff then?
No, yeah, we can. The Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard, obviously, not only did Ubisoft at the last minute pull out of the Tokyo Game Show, which was an immediate red flag on top of everything else, but then they shortly after came out and said, yeah, this game's getting delayed and I believe getting pushed to February 14th, Valentine's Day for some reason. But it's essentially getting like a 4 month delay, more or less, which if you're hoping for more polish, like a 90-day window is kind of negligible at the end of the day. Like, there's only so much you're going to be able to fix if the game is arguably in some level of broken state at launch. Because obviously they've had Skull and Bones and Star Wars Outlaws, which have been financial flops. And if you've not heard or watching some other videos that definitely track this, like, Ubisoft's stock is like plummeting. It's like down 60% on the year or something like that.
Yeah, I actually got sent that by Thunderstash. He sent me because he brought up, he's like, how much you want to bet that the next day after that announcement their stock drops, and it went.
Yeah, so year to date, Ubisoft's, so it's a slight difference. So their year to date is down 54%, but in the past year their stock is down just about 63%. And if you go back 5 years, their stock is down 84%. Their stock peaked in 2021 at around $20 a share, and it's right now sitting at about $2.31 USD a share.
Wild.
Well, that's Ubisoft Entertainment ADR Rep 1/5. Let me double check just to make sure that's the right stock.
Are you sure?
I googled Ubisoft stock and that's what came up. So.
Oh, okay.
It just might be how it's listed, but I do know it's like a huge drop. Even in the announcement of the delay, their stock dropped a lot. It's not what I want. I just wanted to pull up just to make sure I'm getting the right thing. I guess I'll just pull up Bloomberg and it should be on here. Because there's a bunch of different, technically, because there's a jump around. And so Ubisoft Entertainment SA is one of them. Are you going to show me the whole thing? Apparently not. Sorry, some of these sites are just being stupid. But, I mean, regardless, there's been a huge drop in their stock consistently. I'm pretty sure I had the right one the first time. But, I mean, obviously their stock's been dropping so low that the shareholders are one to, like, take action and be like, I don't know what you're doing, but, like, you're costing us a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Coffee saying that Forbes reporting that there was some talk about removing or reducing Yasuke's. The problem is, if you wanted to make a major change like that, 3 months isn't a big enough time to like make any kind of significant change in a game. You'd need like a year.
Yeah,
because that affects so much of the game and the story. And I don't know how you can lower the one of your two main characters' role. Like, your game's essentially where it's going to be. Like, that would just require so much change. It probably would just outright tank the game, and it just would never launch at that point. Like, you'd require Ubisoft to go back to the drawing board. Because I don't know how much there is there, but like, I know it's not been good for Ubisoft. The fact that, and more or less, like, if this game doesn't do well, like, Ubisoft is like, as a company, in massive trouble. As much as I would, might be the wrong word, but I would be gleeful if Ubisoft just went under, because it just shows, you put out crap, you kind of get what you deserve.
I mean, it's wild because they're just making really stupid decisions. I mean, like, none of it,
bad leadership from the top.
None of it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand what these companies are doing. I mean, I don't get it. I just do not understand what is going on. They've got all the political stuff. backing behind these companies, and like they're throwing away dollars. They might as well be throwing money in the trash because they're losing people. Like, it affects your sales. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and your reputation's kind of like in the gutter right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, doesn't make any sense to
Like, you
me.
can't tell me
And
that Outlaws and Skull and Bones haven't lost money for them as a studio this year.
oh, for sure. I mean, a quadruple A game, they spent a lot of money on that.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least,
Quadruple A.
the fact that you have shareholders threatening to try to get them, trying to get other shareholders in, I don't know what you call it, an agreement to try to force them to essentially fire the head CEO and then force the company private to essentially try to fix it or just to sell the company to somebody else. Because regardless, because I think they mentioned like something like BlackRock, which I think arguably would be worse.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter for Ubisoft as a whole, for the shareholders. You have bad leadership at the top, and it's going to destroy the company if they keep going the way they're going. Like, if Assassin's Creed has to make money to at least stop the bleeding.
It's like, I don't know if at this point, like at one point, Assassin's Creed was like Call of Duty, right? Like those were the two.
Oh yeah,
it was a big one. It was a huge deal when it launched. All the new games,
the late 2000s into the 2010s, it was a really big series.
Yeah, it was massive. I mean, like the big time sellers every year were Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty. Those were like the big. You knew it was going to sell no matter what. Nothing matters. But now I feel like that's dropped off. Like, I don't feel the same. I don't think Assassin's Creed is moving the units now that Call of Duty is. I just don't. Like, I don't think it's as prolific of a series now and as important as it once was. So, it's just, I don't know. It's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. I think the whole decisions behind Assassin's Creed are stupid. Like, all of it from the jump, everything we knew from the beginning, stupid, man. I mean, I don't know about you, but like, I just think it doesn't make any sense that they're doing the things that they are, and like they are losing people, like literally losing people. People are, I mean, and for good reason. People are getting upset for good reason.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's crazy. I officially have no interest in playing Assassin's Creed.
I have no interest in an Ubisoft game. Period.
Like they lost me. I love samurais. I love Japan. I love these type of games. I think it like this realistically would have been the place I would have wanted them to visit with Assassin's Creed. Why are you laughing?
There's some comment there. Gamer Freak wanted to talk about, we're trying to bring up some Godzilla stuff, and then Mr. Coffee retcon saying, what if they reskin Yasuke and make him look like Godzilla? I couldn't help but laugh.
That's funny. Yeah. Craziness, man. Is there anything else you want to say about Assassin's Creed, though?
I think we've said for the most part what's kind of already been said. There's obviously a lot of discourse around this in different ways, because obviously there's a whole discussion around DEI and Ubisoft, but that's an ongoing discussion. But I don't want to get bogged down in that discussion right now.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Just keep it moving. I want to get bogged down in some culture war discussion stuff.
Gotcha.
There's too much game news to talk about. So.
Okay, so we got a classic PS2 horror game is making a comeback, and that horror game happens to be
was it Siren? I believe was the name of the game.
Oh yeah, Siren. Yep. Have you played this one?
I have not, but I saw this, and I know you're both a retro and a horror fan, so I thought I'd bring this up.
Yeah, no, this is really cool. I have Siren. It's a cool game. It's not one I would have expected to ever make a comeback. It's definitely really cool, and it's not expensive if I remember correctly. I've had the game for a long time now, so I didn't.
It was a Korean game, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It was a Japan studio game, Japanese game.
Oh, okay. So no, it was a. So the news came from the Game Rating and Administration Committee of Korea rated Siren. Which is kind of where the board. Yeah, that's kind of where this leak / news kind of came from. Sorry, I misread that.
No, you're good. You're good. No, this is really cool. It's like I said, it's one I would have never expected to make a comeback. I would love to see it. Like, I think if I remember correctly, it was kind of like people thought it was sort of mediocre. Let me see what.
It's probably
so I'm looking at reviews. Like overall, Metacritic 72 out of 100. So that's still, you got to remember, that's still 3/4 of the way there. So it's not bad. I enjoyed it, and horror games used to always get bad ratings. So like, don't judge it on the rating system.
If it wasn't like a Silent Hill or a
Resident Evil,
the top end type of, it's kind of like horror movies. It's either really good ratings, or
it's really bad. Yeah, no, just like horror movies, horror games like almost never universally get bad reviews. Like they just don't get good reviews.
But I mean, with all the games, the older games getting like remasters, remakes, obviously leaving out the fact that we're getting too many Last of Us remakes / remasters that don't need it. And we just got news about the what is it? I'm blanked on the name all of a sudden. The Horizon Zero Dawn getting a remake / remaster when it's just too new. Like the game's like maybe 5 years old. It's less than a decade old. It doesn't need a remake.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that we're getting a lot of retro stuff is starting to come back. It's getting remakes, remasters. The 2D 3 or the 2.5D, 3D type remake. Yeah, no, it's a really bad run-on sentence.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. No, I think it's great, and like, there's no reason a game that's less than 5 years old is getting a remake. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's that Last of Us thing. Gets a remaster one generation, the next it gets a remake.
The next year, it got a remaster for the original game from the PS3 to the PS4. It was like,
how is that a remaster? That's just it didn't play like a remaster either because I played it.
It was the same game, just it looked better, obviously, but it's like this game came out like less than 2 years ago. Why?
It was a buzzword to put it on the console and make you think, oh, this is the way new, improved, and best version way to play the game, and so you should buy it again.
Then they did it again with the PS5, but they called it Part 1 since we got Part 2 because people are stupid, apparently.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Yeah, talk about a studio.
I said I would grab that if I find it for $20, but you ain't going to catch me paying $60 for that again. And you ain't going to catch me buying that game for $60 again.
Yeah. And then yes, I saw that, Mr. Coffee. It's in our notes. We'll get to that about some surprising news.
Oh yeah. Okay. Before we move on for other news, I wanted to stop for a second and show off a couple things that came this week. Mark, you got some stuff too. So
yeah, I can pull.
Obviously, picked up new Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
It's still sealed.
I did get to start it. Yeah, Mark hadn't got to start it yet. You want to go and show off your other thing?
Yeah, because my store only had 2 of them, and I just kind of said, screw it, I'll go ahead and pick it up. It's still in the box, but I went ahead and got the light, the Hyrule edition that they released along with it.
So sick.
Still sealed. I don't know how much it cost me, like $300,
whatever
the price is. I don't have the receipt in front of me. I kind of said, screw it. They had it, so I bought it.
Yeah, so cool.
Because I still have my original Switch. I don't have a light. I'm pretty sure it's just the light, so it's obviously got no OLED screen, which would be nice, but...
Well, there is a mod out right now. I was just looking at it again today for the Switch Lite and the OLED screen mod. That's really cool. I mean, like, it's so cool that somebody has done that already while the Switch is still currently active.
I meant to ask, did you get the tote bag with the game at all?
Nope, I didn't get anything because my GameStop both did not get my console in and also did not get the fabric poster pre-order bonus.
So I didn't pre-order mine. I just walked in. I was like, do you have a copy? I didn't really care for it in the pre-orders. I don't know if GameStop had anything specific, but I didn't pre-order.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a big fabric poster, and mine didn't get it again. They didn't get the stuff the last 2 times I've made pre-orders.
Yeah, I think my store. I think he said he had like 20 to either 20 or 40 copies that weren't pre-orders, and he's like, that should get me through the week or the weekend. It's not a big store, but it's decent enough.
Right.
And then I guess if you're doing it before you go to one, I technically, because I was in Salt Lake earlier, I did get 2 other things to add on. I got, because they finally had it, the second and the third Initial D omnibus that I picked up as well, not just the first one. So I'm a huge Initial D fan. So the moment I saw this, I was like, yeah. It just
how much were those?
$23 a piece for these omnibus. It's
not bad.
I mean,
That's cool.
it's more expensive than I prefer it, but I saw that and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get that.
That's rad. Those are cool. The other thing I got that came in the mail is the Flippy Drive. This is it's a GameCube mod. So the Peekaboo that I have in my GameCube now, I've got it loaded up with the full library. This is similar to that. It's got new software, but it's a solderless mod, so you don't have to solder anything. You bend this PCB flex here. It gets bent and put inside the GameCube, but basically you literally screw this mod down. So it's super simple. You can look up the directions. It's not out right now. It is a hopefully I'm saying this correctly. I think it is still a Kickstarter project. I believe they're looking at sometime early next year they should be out. But people are going crazy for this thing. I know that they've already, I believe, met their goals. They've done everything that they need to do. People are very excited about this. And being solderless is a big deal for a lot of people because a lot of people don't want to touch a soldering gun, right? They don't feel comfortable with it. And
it's too easy to mess something up.
Yeah, for good reason. So, like, you literally just have to screw this one down and insert the PCB flex where it tells you to put it in. It's super simple. You can load up. It's both got new software for the GameCube, so it's basically got like a 2.0 home screen where it will load up, and when you go to like your memory card selection, it'll have all of your games that you've loaded up on there. Do you remember the memory card like selection screen? How they were in blocks? Yeah, so all the games that you have saved there. One of the other cool things is you can actually back up. You don't even have to plug in your computer. You can back up your physical games straight to this and save them on the device, and it'll actually rip the game in your GameCube. It'll read and rip your game so you can save up. You can back up your own games right on the GameCube. It's crazy to me. But it also has Swiss, and if you know anything about GameCube mods, Swiss has been around for a long time, but it's basically what it has been used for the GameCube for years at this point, as far as the software. And so it's really cool. I'm going to dive into it soon. Hopefully, I got to find another GameCube though, because I've already got this one set up. It's done. It's good. I need a different GameCube. I don't want to take out and desolder what's already in there when it's run perfectly fine. So I just need to find another GameCube. But yeah, that's really, really cool. So pretty excited about that.
No, absolutely. I guess this next thing wasn't something big, but obviously it's a lot of stuff's getting announced during the Tokyo Game Show. But they came out during Black Myth Wukong. Sorry, I couldn't blank the name on the studio.
What's that?
What?
What's Black Myth Wukong?
It's the game that just came out like.
I'm just kidding.
Like at the beginning of the month or something like that. But they came out and announced during the Tokyo Game Show that Black Myth Wukong has sold over 20 million copies in its first month, which is very impressive.
More than any Metroid game.
Probably combined.
Yeah, realistically, yeah.
They're claiming it's one of the top-selling games. I tried to get hard numbers on some of the other games, like I don't think it's Stellar Blade's not the right thing to think of, but what was it?
Stellar Blade's getting DLC. Did you see that?
I did. So I had this pulled up and I lost it all of a sudden. So I don't know where it stands with with 7 Rebirth, Infinite Wealth, Helldivers 2. As far as like the actual numbers for what they've sold. Just because the year's not out, I don't know how many people have hard release numbers until probably the end of the year when they do whatever they come out during their investors and say, hey, this is what how many copies we moved this FY and everything else and stuff like that. How much money we made and stuff. But it's arguably, it's going to be one of the top selling games. And I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes a top selling game in 2024, even with its short window.
I think to me, it's game of the year.
Easy front runner, what should be a winner of game of the year. To me personally, I just don't think any other game holds up to it. I just think far and away, it's just going to be the best game and probably the best selling game. But obviously, it's hard to tell because I found pretty early on that games media, for whatever reason, didn't like it because they came out and the whole stuff a few months ago with the with Sweet Baby Inc., where they told him to just eat sand.
Yeah,
but I think regardless, the actual game, it's a very good game. I still need to beat it.
Have you beat it yet?
I haven't beat it. unfortunately. I should have by now, but I didn't. But to me, it's just I just see this as being the easy game of the year. It shouldn't even be a competition.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be in the discussion. I can't think of what else, like, besides
Assassin's Creed
Zelda,
would have
which
been
isn't
one of the
going
it's just not. Maybe if it was the
3D
3D mainline game, I still think
Yeah.
of it's a mainline game, but it's kind of doing its own thing, and it's not going to be seen as like a AAA
Yeah.
mainline game.
I'm trying to think of what else though would even be
Before the
competitive with-
controversy. You would have said Assassin's Creed, but controversy now the delay, it's not even coming out this year anymore. And then I don't know. I mean, to me, it and Stellar Blade are my two favorite games.
Oh, Stellar Blade came out this year. Yeah,
I think that might make the list.
I don't think
it's not going to win.
I don't think it's gonna win either.
I don't think it's gonna make the top 5, but I could see Like a Dragon, Helldivers 2, definitely.
Helldivers 2 will be in the discussion. Yeah. I think it's probably gonna win. I mean, I can't. Yeah, probably is.
There's just no other game, not only in sales and popularity, but just the game itself.
I mean,
is just that good.
I won't support it because I think it's sketchy. I think you're getting your data stolen and all that stuff with it. But
to be fair, your data's getting stolen from Facebook. It's getting stolen from everybody else. It's just who's taking it and selling it. Your data's already out there. There's no stopping stuff like that.
I disagree with that. I don't think everybody's data is out there. So
most people, anybody that's on the internet, your data's.
I'm just
whatever you put on the internet,
obviously
it's out there and it's getting sold to advertisers for money. It just is what it is.
Yeah,
like I get it if you don't like it for its roots with a Chinese company based in China and stuff like that. But as a game by itself, it's just a really good game.
Well, we got so Horizon Zero Dawn, price after remaster announcement. So they doubled the price after they made the announcement for the remaster because you have the $10 upgrade option, and they don't want you to do that. They want you to spend more money.
So stupid, because they went from $20 to $40 after they announced, "Hey, we're gonna remaster and release it." What's the point of increasing the price other than you're just it's just so greedy, so blatantly
corporate greed.
Like, it's give me more reasons to stop supporting Sony. Like, it's just this is pointless. It's a 5-6 year game at this point. Came out in 2017, 2018. I think 2017.
Yeah.
I think came out the same year that Breath of the Wild did. But it's just like that's just not necessary.
Wild. I mean,
on top of you're going to release another game, so what? You're trying to get people that want to play it now to pay more? Like, you've long since made your money on this game. It's a really popular game. It's a really good and fun game. But it's just
I agree. It was great.
You see stuff like that, and you're like, first of all, it didn't need a remaster. It's a new coat of paint, but what? There's no supporting this.
I don't even know. We were just talking about the Last of Us stuff. This very well might be one of those situations where it's like, okay, the game runs a little bit better, but there is no to me, remaster. That means that you're working with the original source code and you're working from sort of the ground up with it. So you're kind of rebuilding, and the visuals should look significantly different when it's being remastered.
Yeah.
Remaster to me is not just a new coat of paint or just now it's a stable 60. That's not a remaster to me. So I don't know.
It just you're remastering a game that you've already have access to, and it's not that old. This game is
no, it's still playable on the PS5.
Well, less than a decade old at this point. It's a last-gen console. It runs
physically and digitally. So why are we doing this?
I get it with old games that are 10, 20, 30 years old, that if you don't have the old hardware, they're essentially impossible to play. That's one thing. But a game that's this new, and Sony's feels like they've been doing this for a while now. They're just doing it more and more. It started with The Last of Us, when they went from the PS3 to the PS4, but it's just this just seems unnecessary, and nobody should buy this. The only reason you should buy this remastered version is if you never played the game to begin with. If you already have it, there's no point. Especially now that it's on PC, I can make this game look and run better by just modding it on PC. I don't need a remaster.
Right. And it's it's crazy, man.
Yeah, I don't know. There's only so much you could say. It's just corporate greed. I'm I don't. Yeah, no. Sony, I saw the
They're
meme
making
where
a
it's
lot
like
of piss
Sony's
poor
doing
decisions.
like, yeah, Sony's back. Oh no, we're gone. Oh no, we're back. Oh no, Sony's done for type thing. I was like, this just feels like Sony like the past like 2 months. They do something
Yeah,
really
it's
good, then something really bad, and it just goes back and forth.
wild, man. I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it. Like, is this something you would buy?
I already have the game. I have it on PS4 and on PC.
So who are they trying to sell this to then?
I don't know. At this point, like
Like, who cares about
if you
this?
wanted to have played this, you probably already have the game.
Yeah,
Man,
it's wild, man.
But speaking of stuff that actually deserves a remaster, I know you talked about it, and I think you posted it on the Facebook and some socials. Lunar is coming back after God knows how many decades it's been gone.
Yeah, funny enough, today is 19 years ago today, Lunar Dragon Song came out on the DS, so I posted that today too. Kind of funny timing. But yeah, no, this was I was more excited about this than anything in the PlayStation Showcase because I want these games to hit a new audience. So just like we talked about with Trails and Tales and some of those games that, Ease, that hadn't hit with like an American audience before. This is another one of those ordeals. These games in this collection to me are 10 out of 10 games. I love these Lunar games. Like I deeply, deeply love these games. They are so good.
So from what I saw, it's Lunar Silver Star Story and then Lunar Eternal Blue are the two games in this HD because it looks like it's still the same
the two
pixel
best games.
A little bit maybe of some 3D with just the graphics and stuff like that, but it looks like the old pixel game just with a fresh coat of like high def pixelated art essentially.
Yeah.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, and there's like honestly, like these games, just bringing them to modern platform is a big deal because here's another one of the things. Just like so many other JRPGs, these games are expensive, so there's no legal way to play these without spending several $100s to buy them because these came in box sets. These games did. They were in like the PS1. It came in a sleeved box set that was about this thick, and it came with the book and map and stuff like that. But no, that they're doing all new English voice acting, which will modernize the classic experience. They said, and I think that's really cool that they're doing that because that means they're actually putting work into it.
Yeah, they said they're bringing the cutscenes to high def. Cause I've seen some cutscenes where it looked like the old like 90s anime. I assume they're just upscaling those, the new fresh paint stuff like that. I don't know if they're like completely redoing the cutscenes. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that part either. But like just looking at the cutscenes, it is so cleaned up and looks really good. I think it looks excellent. Like from the screenshots that we have, it looks very cleaned up from the original game. You got to remember, like PS1, we're talking, where the era of, we talked about it many times, where things maybe didn't look so great or don't hold up as well today. Now this is a little bit different because it is a 2D game, but even then, I've gone back and played Silver Star Story, and it can be a little rough in some areas just because PS1, but the game itself is an absolute 10 out of 10. Amazing stories. Like these two games are fantastic. Yeah. So I'm so happy that they're coming to modern platforms, and I hope that it reaches a new audience so that we get new games. I mean, because this is a series I would love to see continue.
There's just a lot of good RPGs from the 90s that are stuck in that top-down 2D pixel art style that some people might be turned off on, but they're just really good written stories. It just requires you to have like 40, 50, 60 hours of time to get through the whole story.
That's, that is the thing about JRPGs is they are a little bit of a time sink, so, but it's also one of the great things about it is that it's you get your money's worth out of the game. You know what I mean? Like that's the cool thing about JRPGs is that you really legitimately get your money's worth. Like a 60-hour game, it's an investment. Just take your time with it then. Like who are you rushing for? Just take your time and enjoy it, and you're getting your money's worth. That's how I see it. That's pretty cool. And we didn't actually get to talk about it, but I am going to bring it up, the Zelda. So I started playing it. Apparently, this is around a 15-hour game, which is pretty good for, a 2D Zelda game. It's actually, I would say really good for a 2D Zelda game. But, so I got a couple hours in, and it's really cool, man. It's definitely different. It's really neat. It's no spoiler because you saw it in the trailer, but you start the game out as Link. quickly, and I won't say anything beyond that for that. But it's very interesting. Right from the get go, you're thrown into the action of the game like right away. There's like kind of no waiting, which is really neat. The echo ability is freaking cool, man. Like really, really cool. It's such a cool concept. It's taking kind of like a semi thing from Tears of the Kingdom, sort of. It's similar in ways. But the echoes, which is like a copying ability and building ability, is really, really neat. And there's like 150 different echoes in the game, different things that you can use to get around the environment and solve puzzles, and it's really, really cool. So I did want to just mention that with it, but I'm enjoying it. I'm excited about it. One thing I will say though, the overworld, when you're going through it, it's got the Link's Awakening problem. The frame rate is not stable when you're going through the overworld.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Hopefully that's something we'll hopefully get patched, because Nintendo's not known for...
Well, they never patched Link's Awakening. It's still that way.
I hope not for such a big game, because it always feels like it's a big thing when Nintendo games are not polished when they come out. So hopefully it's not...
Link's Awakening was one of those very few exceptions for Nintendo where like, oh, this has got like some actual performance problems.
Yeah. Outside of the Pokemon Company, which just doesn't care about its fans, but
I feel like those were the only two that I can think of: Scarlet and Violet and Link's Awakening. Which is, it's very unfortunate because it doesn't make sense with it being a 2D game why there's performance problems. I don't know what is wrong with the engine they're using, but something's up there. It's very weird, and it's crazy to me that they would let that happen again after Link's Awakening. The frame rate in that game is rough,
especially on a game that they're advertising as a brand new. It's not a remaking. It's like a brand new from the ground up game.
Own, yeah. Like I don't even know if this is where this goes in the timeline either when it starts out, because I guess it's not a spoiler. Like Zelda doesn't know who Link is. I'll just say that. So, like, where does it go in the timeline?
It might be its own random thing. I assume based off of what
are they going to split off to a 4th timeline now?
Like, I mean, that's what they kind of did with the 2 new games. They just kind of like put a line and said, "Hey, these 2 games are connected," and they're just kind of not connected.
In my experience, I think Link's Awakening is worse, but I've seen a few people comment that this is significantly worse than Link's Awakening, and I'm about 3 hours in, so I've spent a good chunk of time in the overworld. I don't think it's as bad as Link's Awakening, but it's there. You can tell, like right from the get-go, when you get into the overworld. It doesn't happen dungeons anywhere if you go inside a house. It doesn't happen inside anything. It's just the overworld.
Yeah.
It's weird. And this is how many times bigger than Link's Awakening? Like, I think they said 8 times bigger than Link's Awakening, like the map, because it's an open world game.
Yeah, I knew it was significantly larger, and you would expect them not being restraint to a old game on the Game Boy, being able to do a whole lot more with it.
Right. Yeah, it was so disappointing to see at Link's Awakening, because it was so rough that like at points I didn't even want to continue. Like it was pretty bad, and I love Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. So, now of course I beat that game twice, the remake.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out where.
I think they said 8 times bigger, but it is like there's a whole map you got to unlock, like Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back. So if you're not sure, Link's Awakening takes place after A Link to the Past and the Heroes Defeated timeline. It's the second game in that timeline. Not that it matters, because
confirmed by Nintendo.
Yeah, it's the official timeline placement, because we all know that all the games that have no proper timeline placement were in the Heroes Defeated timeline.
So this is after A Link to the Past.
Yeah, it's the next game after.
That's weird. Right before... And then Link's Awakening is after that, right? Link's Awakening is just a dream, so it's like, how do you?
Yeah, it's Link to the Past, Link's Awakening. The one I pulled up is not the best, and then there's another game, and it's the Oracle games, and it's
the Oracle games. I think have to be next for remakes.
You would
Oracle
think so.
Oracle of Ages is in my top 3 Zelda games ever, so I think it's phenomenal.
So it goes. In the Heroes Defeated, it's A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, the Oracles, then the Link Between Worlds, and then Zelda 1, Zelda 2.
Yeah, so Mr. Coffee, it looks like Link's Awakening is set after this game, right?
I have no idea.
Goes Link. I thought you just said it.
Do you mean this brand new game?
Yeah, this is set before Link's Awakening.
No,
and after
Link's Awakening. Because I was asking the specific question. Link's Awakening is placed after Link to the Past. We have no idea where this Echoes
that's what
game
I was
is.
saying. That's what you're
No, we
trying to
brought it
say
up
the whole
before.
time.
Like, no, because they said in their new announcement, I feel like we talked about a few episodes ago.
I think this is
It was like a hard line. Then it was Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, completely detached. And then I assume this one was going to be somewhat attached to those, but I don't know if it's going to be a spinoff or there's going to be a huge time jump. So maybe after.
It could be before Tears of the Kingdom, potentially.
I don't know, or maybe this takes place.
Zelda doesn't know who Link is.
Maybe this takes place after, because I can't remember how the ending went for Tears of the Kingdom. But maybe there's some amnesia that happened after. These are the offspring of Link and Zelda in the future, because we know that's still the whole. They're doomed to repeat the cycle type thing. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait until they officially put it into a timeline, or we get another mainline Zelda game that mentions this game. Maybe, probably won't.
Well, I'm wondering if this is its own thing. I legitimately, I don't think they would want to split off and make a fifth timeline.
Who knows at this point? It's Nintendo.
But I did say, like, what I was most excited for with this game was the story, because I wanted to know, is this part of, the Tears of the Kingdom timeline and Breath of the Wild?
I have to finish the game and see, I guess. Maybe it'll tell you to play more.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
I'm sure someone's already beat
I'm glad
the game.
there's already more story there than Tears of the Kingdom had for the whole game. I'm only a couple hours in, so
I mean, there was a decent amount, but it's like that's open worlds in general. There's a give and take.
Well, this is open world too.
Yeah, so there's a limit on how in depth the story can be compared to a super linear game where it's just pure raw story that moves the game forward.
Well, apparently Nintendo's ending repairs on 3 consoles, right?
Yeah, so there's for sure 2 of these were Japan specific. So if you didn't know, apparently for these Famicom Classic and the Super Famicom Classic, which in the US it was known as the NES Classic and the SNES Classic, they're ending support essentially once parts run out, as well as apparently the new 2DS XL. The fact that Nintendo does this and they advertise it's still amazing to me. Maybe the other,
like, why?
the other consoles do. Nobody consoles, but they're like, hey, for the Famicom Classic, Super Famicom, and new 2DS XL, they're saying, hey, once parts are out, we're not fixing these anymore. So if you need it fixed, get it fixed now.
Send it in now, yeah.
Like, we've heard this before recently with some of their old stuff, but it's just like stuff that's like 10 years old. It's just like it's end of life type thing with the hardware, and they're like, yeah, we're just not going to support it anymore. Something kind of small, but some need decent amount of Nintendo stuff. I don't know where Brandon ran off to. Oh, are you still there?
Yeah. Okay. So we got Kingdom Hearts creator comments on ugly characters in video games.
Yeah, so I thought that was just kind of funny. Because I did see some people talking about this, but essentially he came, apparently when he was a classmate, one of his friends was playing a game in which he came out and said the protagonist wasn't good looking. So his friend actually asked, why do I have to be ugly in the game too? Not only in her world, but in a video game. And apparently that highly influenced him on his character designs to be like, you want because obviously people's like, it's not realistic, but it's a kind of a game. It's more of like a fantasy or something you would wish to see. Why, because not everybody's like this top 1%, the best looking people in the world. If you want to look, play as a nice person or look good in a video game, and not everybody wants to look like themselves in an actual video game. They want maybe a more idealized version of themselves, or somebody like a blank slate character that they could kind of like imprint themselves on as they're playing the game with the whole blank slate character type thing. I can't imagine this getting a whole lot of drama around it. I'm sure some people would do that. It's just, I thought it was kind of funny and a little neat that people were talking about. They came out and was kind of like, yeah, this is kind of like why I make my characters the way I do.
That's very interesting.
I think a lot of people probably would agree with the statement. With the whole, I don't know, this whole drama around, Eastern, Western character design and stuff like that. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, let's just be, it's not real. It's a video game, so why not have, play into the fantasy of imprinting yourself on somebody that you probably aren't. Like, not everybody's like the hero in the real world going to go on this huge quest, save the world, everyone's going to know your name, but you can be that person in a video game, that idealized version that you see yourself as.
Seems sketchy.
I don't know. I think it's just you.
It might be. It might just be me, but it's definitely interesting.
I thought it was kind of relevant just because you see a stark divide between East and West as far as character design goes, and it's very different.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, it's definitely interesting for sure.
I guess you could stay around Nintendo a little more. So apparently Platinum Games has gotten its full rights from the Wonderful 101 from Nintendo. So Nintendo was the publisher of this game, but now apparently Platinum Games got full rights for the game that they made back in 2013. I don't know, did you ever play this game?
No, I have not. Have you?
I didn't really have much of a Wii U presence.
What? Hold on.
I have a Wii U, but I didn't. So it's what's it like? What it's like a Wonderful Joe game or something like that? Is what the Wonderful 101
Wonderful
is?
101. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I played this. Yeah. So no, this is I don't know how to explain it. It's like a game where you've got 101 characters on the screen that you're like controlling. They're all superheroes. It's very wacky, very interesting.
Yeah.
And Platinum Games is always great. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, they've got a lot. They're a really good game studio.
Yeah, they are. They put out, obviously Bayonetta and stuff like that. So they do some really good stuff, and you can't go wrong with any of those games. But a sequel for Wonderful 101 would be really, really cool.
I mean,
for sure.
Hopefully that means good things in the future. If they got the rights back, they want to continue on or release the game or do a remaster. Maybe Nintendo had it and they didn't want to do anything with it, but the studio did. So
yeah, no, for sure. I would love to see them, do something with it. Mr. Coffee said it's like Pikmin meets beat 'em up. So yeah, that's a great way to describe it for sure.
Yeah, I think I have a Wii U, but I bought it to play a handful of Wii games, and I got like Mario Maker on it. But I got the Wii U at the end of its life, like a year or two before the Switch came out. So
oh yeah,
I don't have
do you still play it?
I haven't pulled it out in a few years, like 5 years. I haven't pulled it out.
Do you have, what retro consoles do you have?
I've got the SNES, the 64, the GameCube. I got the Vita. I don't know. It's like edge of retro. I guess I got the Wii U and stuff like that. But I've only got a handful of old consoles.
Do you have a 64?
Yeah, but these are the consoles that I grew up playing with. So to be fair, they all technically need refurbished.
Oh, okay.
But I have them. I just don't really use them, play them a whole lot at this point. So more or less, they just they sit in a closet.
See, that's sad.
I don't have a proper.
Sit there?
The problem is for the SNES, the 64, and I guess more or less for the GameCube, I don't have like a proper CRT to play games on. I've got a 55-inch flat screen, which they don't play well on. Even with an adapter, they still look stretched, distorted, highly pixelated on
you need the retro
modern
tank.
Yeah, probably I do.
No, 100%. You can't, if you use those cheap adapters, you might as well not even play it. They look so bad.
They do.
I've got it here. It's under a bunch of cables, so I can't show you. But yeah, no, that's what I use for modern TV, and it fixes that problem completely. And you can even put scan lines on there to make it replicate like a CRT, because there are some games where those pixels were designed around the scan lines being there.
Yeah.
So if you don't have them there, it just looks off.
Actually, I thought it was funny because I saw somebody talk about that, like Duck Hunt. Like apparently, it's designed around. It's looking for where it is. It was like what they say, like a flash on the screen that it's looking for through the gun, and if it sees that flash, it counts it like it's a hit. So apparently, you could just put it under a lamp, shoot, and you would hit every time, and just super high, because it's based off of the screen would flash super fast, and that just determines. Based off where did it flash where the barrel or whatever the thing is looking for aiming, essentially. Which I guess
you know that the Wii. No, you're good. Did you know the Wii? You can use a candle instead of the sensor bar, and it'll work as a sensor bar. Yeah, that's serious. Crazy. There's videos of it. I've tried it and it works. Isn't that crazy?
That is.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
The jankiness of old technology. Trying to do something neat. No, because I was just trying to say, apparently it technically works on modern LCD and LED screens, just not as well, just because it wasn't designed. It was designed around what the CRT actually does, but it in theory can still work. It's just not as effective.
Yeah, the RetroTink solves all those problems. I don't. I can't say I 100% understand the technology behind it, but the guy that does it, like, there's the RetroTink 4K now that's out, which I don't have. It's just it costs too much. So I just can't afford it right now. But I've got the 5X, which is good enough for 95% of people, and it works perfect. It's great. Like, it fixes all those problems, and you can work around obviously everything up to, like, Sega Saturn, PS3 even. Like, it does a lot of stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. I guess the last thing I'll say on this is I could go with the CRT. The problem is a lot of these old games that I had and I actually played, a lot, if not most of them, are now like on the Nintendo Switch Online. So it's like I don't have ways to play a lot of these games. And like I want to play it, but like I'll play it for like a day or two, a few hours, and then it's like I want to move on. Like I'm not just gonna play these games religiously. It's just like you get the itch periodically to go back and play a game that you played. To be fair, a lot of these games you could beat within a day. So,
do you still have any of your handhelds?
I got my Game Boy Color, my Game Boy Advance. They're both missing the battery back, but they've been missing those when I was a kid.
Classic.
I think I've got the Vita and then the clamshell. I think the clamshell one, its battery's kind of shot. I think it has to stay plugged into work at this point. Gotcha. And then I've got my old DS, but it just doesn't work. I'm pretty sure, because I think I showed it before. It's pretty sure the battery's long since corroded and probably just damaged it permanently because it just sat in the closet for like a decade.
Well, what you should do is at least unscrew that vac and pull that battery out, just in case it hasn't ruined it.
But
it'll implode in there.
I ended up also getting, like, I've got 2 new 3DS XLs, so I have ways to play my old DS games. I might
need to buy one off of you.
Well, I bought them when they were cheap. When they were before it was announced, because I think I got both of them for no more than like $100-$120 a piece or something like that.
Yeah, I remember. I wish I had grabbed one. You said new 3DS, right?
Yeah, the new 3DS XL.
That's
they're
what
both
I need.
The same
I've
thing.
been trying to find one. I might have to buy one off you.
That was the time when I was playing. I was playing Pokemon games, both on the online store as well as like the newer games they had on the DS. And Pokemon need to trade. And that was like really when I was into working on the Pokemon Living Decks, which I got through all those games. So that was like the main reason, was I needed ways to trade for myself for certain types of Pokemon and stuff like that. But that was back when it was like $100. It was like whatever. It's really cheap.
Yeah. I regret deeply not grabbing a couple of them.
Plus, the old DS is neat to have, but like just having the bigger screen, I'd rather play my old DS games. They work, and it's just a better hardware.
It looks better on the 3DS too.
Yeah, and if it's not stretched, it'll still give that box, but like you can play them just fine on the modern. They're backwards compatible, so there's no real need to pull out 20-year-old handheld hardware and play it.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have like PictoChat or something like that on it, but more or less I can still play the games I want to play.
But it is good to play PictoChat too, So, yep. All right. So what we got next, Mark?
I guess 2 more quick things before we get on to a bunch of our big stuff. So, it was like a quick little note. Steam broke its own record for concurrent players. So this past Sunday, trying to pull up the actual date on the 22nd of September 2024. They hit 38.3 million concurrent users on Steam, which broke their previous records back in January 23 and July of 24. Which just kind of goes to show how popular Steam really is. It wasn't something big. It was just wild. Like, hey, they broke one of their records of just concurrent people on Steam, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
The other one was some I saw within like a half hour before we actually went live, just because I have one of these versions of the game on the 360, but we just got an announcement that the Venus Vacation Prism Dead or Alive Extreme was announced for PS5, PS4, and PC, due out in early 2025 from the publisher Koei Tecmo and the developer Team Ninja. And if you don't know anything about the Dead or Alive Extreme, it's a immersive romance adventure game.
That's a way to put it.
So if you're into those types of games,
I didn't know the Dead or Alive Extreme games had anything other than volleyball. So this is like
I'm pretty
totally
sure
news to
even the
me.
old Dead or Alive Extreme had volleyball, but there are other aspects of it where you're like buying outfits for the girls, try to get them to like you or something like that. There was always
I
like
don't remember
a
that. I don't remember
romance.
the trying to get you to like you part.
Maybe I can't remember because there's a few games I
Let me
thought.
look this up.
But there was always like a romance dating sim light version to those games. On top of
I
the
don't
girls are
remember
just
that.
the Dead or Alive girls are just in skimpy outfits at a beach, so which is very obviously the
Venus.
main selling point of the game. And
Yeah,
it
I'm
might not
looking
be
at it
extreme.
now.
It might be one of the other games, but hey, if you're a
That's
fan of these quasi
wow.
dating sims, especially the Dead or Alive Extreme series, hey, you're getting another game. They haven't forgotten about you.
I will say this, and this is nothing I would ever play. I'm not interested in dating sim, but it looks really good. Like visually, it looks better than it should, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Like the screenshots, it looks really good.
and it's kind of like some quasi dating sims. So as the boss
Weird, but
on Venus Island, where summer's everlasting, you will interact with the girls you encounter there. Your story with the girls will unfold based on the choices you make, resulting in a variety of outcomes. The heart-fluttering sensation caused by casual gestures, the thrill felt as you draw close to your love interest, the worry about which girl to choose. Are you ready to experience true romance on the island of everlasting summer? And there's six girls. I'm assuming it was the
so
same with the
this
previous
looks
games.
like a visual novel.
Yeah, that's kind of what these
I
games
just
are.
watched the trailer.
I mean, this is
Yeah,
probably going to sell far more better in Japan than probably everywhere else, just because it's like the primary market for these types of games. But there are people here that like visual novels, and there are some decently good visual novels, even though the choices you make are select what dialogue option, and then the story just kind of moves forward. There's really no interaction more than that. But yeah, just I thought it was funny. I saw it and thought I'd mention it because why not?
yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. I legitimately didn't know that because it's a spin-off series of fighting games, which is wild.
That this
So
is a
this is
spin off
like a
of fighting game,
spin-off of a spin-off.
pretty much.
Wild. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. And there's no volleyball in it though. That sucks.
I mean, who knows? Maybe there is. You just don't know.
Yeah, there might be.
Maybe it's a small little mini game.
Maybe, yeah. All right. So are we moving on to the bigger news?
Oh yeah, we can do that.
Okay. So we got some Tokyo Game Show announcements on the Xbox side. So we saw more about Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, which is really cool. A lot of people have been asking about this, wondering, what's going on. Are we going to get a release date? Are we going to get any more info? And we didn't. It doesn't look like we really got a release date for it. Is that
I'm
right?
not sure, or at least what GameSpot wrote up didn't have anything announced on it. There might be a better one, but just the fact
Lost
that
my audio.
we're getting new news about a new Metal Gear Solid game, it's exciting. Now just hopefully they don't mess it up. You fix your audio, your headphones. Oh, you good?
Oh, you good?
Oh, Brandon's doing
Lost
something.
my audio, guys. Sorry. Let me trying to fix it.
Yeah, he's trying to fix it real quick. On top of that, I guess we'll do something a little bit smaller. If any of you are still an Overwatch 2 fan, apparently the game's getting a bunch of My Hero Academia skins for certain characters. So different stuff like All Might, Uravity, Deco, and Himiko Toga are getting certain skins. And I think a few other ones. I'm just not sure for who the character is. I think from what I saw, like Tracer is the one getting the Deku skin, but I don't remember about the rest of the characters. It looks good.
Nice.
I'm not an Overwatch 2 fan, but for those that are both the My Hero Academia and Overwatch fan, it's good. You're probably gonna get ripped off on what they're charging for it, but hey,
Are
it's
you
there.
Age of Mythology fan?
I played it once. I didn't really care for it, but I'm glad we're getting more of the remasters because I am a big fan of the Age of Empires 2 remaster. It's just a really good classic game and style of game.
Yep. Looks like we got more on
Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
Because I did skip one while you were gone though. Did we get
okay.
get news about StarCraft Remastered and StarCraft 2? And apparently they're
Yeah,
both expected to be coming to Game Pass.
which is good.
Like talk about just a classic games.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm excited about that. I definitely would love to revisit StarCraft 2 for sure. I love that game.
Hey, you got a fan for the Age of Empires DS? Mr. Coffee commented, big fan of the DS version, which I have, but I since lost. I think Brand still has his. It's probably what he's going to grab. I played a lot of it, and it definitely played more as turn-based. I just prefer the Age of Empires 2 on PC. It's one of those games that I wish I still had. Just you lost it, God knows how long ago. As Brandon, yeah, I think I put a decent amount in. Yeah, it's a classic old game. The Age of Kings, back when that was like the only expansion. Now there's like it feels like 5 different expansions.
I love it. I replayed some of it again not too long ago, but it runs like garbage. But yeah. I love it just because I have that nostalgia for it. It runs really bad though. It's got a lot of issues, but I still loved it. And I put another like 8 hours into it.
Yeah, but I got that itch when I got Age of Empires 2, the remastered version of it. So I've been going back playing the old campaigns. Plus, there's new like the one thing that was really great is the game that's like 25 years old. Once they remastered it, it's still getting more content, more updates, which I think is absolutely great because it's just like the peak of what of RTS really is. It's peaked in like the late 90s, early 2000s. There's really no need to innovate on it. I think it worked just fine at that point, but
for sure. Then we also got Tanuki Pond Summer, which is an interesting kind of game. I was watching a trailer of it. It looks fun. It looks really fun. Looks like it'd be a pretty short game, but fun stuff. I'm kind of excited about that one. Now,
I don't know if
Threads
you call
of
this
Time.
Yeah, I don't know if you call that more of like one of those cutesy type games that tends to like pop up like a comfy game or whatever you want to call it. It's what it feels like.
Cozy.
Yeah, cozy game. It's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, for sure. But Threads of Time, oh my god, does this game look amazing. Holy freaking crap. So it's a new JRPG. It's supposed to be in the lines of Chrono Trigger, and you look at both the gameplay, the art aesthetic, and then it's got full anime cutscene sequences in between that it's got that really good.
It's got that really popular pixel, but that 2.5D art style for old retro games. It's really starting to become like a big thing.
Come back.
Yeah, I think that 2.5D really works in the modern age for these pixel games, whether it's new or like a remaster. Because it has a 3D environment, but it still has the pixel artwork that you really like about the characters in the environment.
Yeah, it says it's Threads of Time. The team describes it as an era-spanning turn-based RPG inspired by the timeless classic. So it's very much supposed to be in the line of Chrono Trigger. And the aesthetic is beautiful. I mean, absolutely beautiful. It looks, the animated cutscenes too, thrown in there, like, holy crap, dude. Like, it looks awesome.
I think they did a lot. It's just how many games do we need before we get a Chrono Trigger actual remaster that we so desperately need?
Well, I would love that, but I'm also like new games, new IPs.
Oh yeah,
like I'm all for it, man. This is what we should be getting more of: is new IPs.
Like getting past this stigma that flat 2D games are bad. Like not everything needs to be this AAA 3D game. Like you have really good storytelling. And the graphics look good, but you're not putting in $200 million into a game and hoping to God it doesn't flop. You could put like $10 million into a game like this, and it could be wildly successful.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm excited about it. It looks really, really awesome. So I can't wait to check that out.
No, yeah, absolutely.
It's a really cool one from it, and definitely to see in the Xbox showcase. Here's another one I'm excited about. We Love Katamari Reroll plus Royal Reverie. So I bought it is...
Yeah, they say it's available
I can't remember which Katamari that I bought that was a remaster for the Switch, but this one is my favorite Katamari game, so I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, so I think this is both on Game Pass for both the PC and the Xbox itself. That's out right now. And they're great, fun games.
Yeah, for sure. And then we got to see more of what may be other than Zelda, my most hyped game that I'm looking forward to that comes out next month, which is Metaphor ReFantazio. It's got to be. You look at this game, it just looks beautiful, man. Just looks so good. I'm so excited to see more of these type of games coming here, because it's just not something that happened before, and if it did, it just didn't do well. It didn't hit with other people. But this is up there for what I'm most excited about. This game just looks so freaking awesome, man. What do you think about this game?
I think it's pretty good. I don't know if I'm gonna get it at launch. I might, because I have a rule of thumb. I at least want to give it a few days just to see the reaction and stuff like that. But it assuming this game is actually good, I'll probably get it like within the first week it comes out. I'm hoping it does good. I think the game looks amazing, at least from what we've seen.
Yeah, the visuals, man, look really good.
It's really interesting looking like monsters that really look like they pull from like Japanese mythology or just general Japanese like weird horror art. Like there's like a monster with like 4 eyes, a weird tongue that's got like a flower with an eye on it and stuff like that. But it's like coming out of a flower. It's just crazy.
You want to let us know about this next game and if you want to play it?
You mean Frag Punk?
Yeah. It's a new hero shooter.
Of course it is the hero shooter.
It's a new 5v5 hero shooter. It's getting a closed beta and signups are now available for it.
It can't do any worse than... It doesn't look nearly as bad as Concord, but... Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know how well it's going to do.
It's the same concept, though.
I guarantee you it has not the amount of time. It probably looks a little bit more unique than that game, but... I know what you may talk about. It's a hero shooter. So by default, I just don't care for hero shooters.
I don't care.
Like either. I tried Overwatch 2 and I played that for about a few 2 hours and I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I never even touched 2. It just didn't click with me at all. So we also got Atelier Yuma, The Alchemist of Memories, and Envision Land. They always gotta have these crazy long titles.
Yeah, thanks Japan. They've had old like titles like anime and manga. That's like a full-on sentence. It's crazy.
This next one, I have no idea how to say it. Asura Jang Rumble. It's a battle royale game, anime-esque battle royale. So probably something I won't play.
They're like another, it's a battle royale fighter type game with a with an Asian skin to it.
Yeah, basically.
The best way to describe it, essentially.
And then you want to talk about this next one?
I assume not the Fallout 76 one. What's there to talk about Fallout 76?
I have no idea.
We're just getting more content with the game.
Why?
Oh, you can get a cat in Fallout 76. Is what they're bringing to the wasteland. Seems like it didn't really need a big announcement for it, if you ask me. But I mean,
I don't quite understand.
Synduality, if I didn't butcher that, Echoes of Ada, which is the PvPvE type game, kind of looked interesting. I mean, it's more of the goes in that live service type game, but yeah, it had an interesting premise from what it looked like.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty excited about a new Bleach game. I gotta say, I love the IP. What?
Sorry, I was being I was being a smartass.
Oh, I like Bleach.
Yeah, I know. That's why. Sorry,
but you never got into it, right?
The anime, not really.
Yeah, I think it's great. I thought it was I mean, it was because of the big 3, the One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach, it was the least popular, I would say. And I just thought it was great, man. I mean, it's my favorite of the 3. I like Naruto a lot. I like One Piece too, but Bleach I think is great. So yeah, I'm excited to see if this is any good. This is one I'll, wait to see what people say about it or whatever, and kind of get the general consensus. But it's coming out early 2025, and it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, and then we're getting another remaster. Suikoden 1 and 2 is getting an HD remaster.
Yeah, so we knew about this, but we finally got a release date, March 6th of next year, because it keeps getting pushed for some reason. So for some reason, we weren't getting a solid release date. But again, just like the other ones I talked about when I was talking about Lunar, 10 out of 10 games, absolutely fantastic. I'm so happy they're being brought to modern platforms because they're expensive and they're not accessible. So I'm all for it.
Yeah.
And then all you need is help. Was the next game?
Yeah, it's a multiplayer puzzle game essentially.
Yeah.
Best way to describe it.
Like something I probably wouldn't play.
Yeah, of course not. I've never been the biggest. Like, there's only one puzzle game that I actually played.
1,000-Year War is the bomb. I agree. It is. Have you seen the trailer to Date Trigger Novita? It's basically Fortnite, but it's all waifus. Have you seen that, Mark?
I don't think so.
That's up Mark's alley. He's the waifu guy. I'm gonna skip that one because it's another multiplayer online game. So we got Slitterhead, which looks like an interesting horror game. I definitely saw some discourse about this game, so I'm interested to see if this is any good. It looks kind of cool, but I always remain skeptical. I'm saying it wrong. I just kind of usually with the horror stuff it depends, but I usually wait to see what people say. People I know. Yeah. So
yeah. Then this next two we kind of already knew about: the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake, and then the Trials of Mana and the Legends of Mana. Games we kind of already.
Trials of Mana's been out for a long time. It's just coming to Game Pass. Same with Legends.
But we kind of already got.
Cool.
Yeah, we kind of already know it's coming. The Dragon Quest III HD 2D is coming later this year, November 14th, and then obviously we're getting the 1 and 2 sometime next year. Just getting more information, more look at it. Just can't wait for that game to come out.
Were you smiling while watching the trailer for the waifu game?
I don't know why you say it's a waifu game.
He said it, not me.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means. But we also got Final Fantasy 1 through 6 pixel remasters coming to Xbox, so that's really cool, man. For Xbox, peeps getting a lot of JRPGs.
Yeah, and obviously this was the Xbox One. There's still stuff going on today. You have the rest of the weekend, so there's definitely a lot of more stuff to come. Hopefully, because obviously there were different studios doing different announcements throughout the whole weekend. But I mean, this is like a really good start for stuff that's coming out, both new and stuff that we kind of already heard about. That's great. I just like the fact that we're getting a lot of these old JRPGs getting a new life on a new console, new hardware with a new, more or less, coat of paint on top of them. Because these are older games that definitely deserve people that either didn't play them back then or have never heard of these games to get a try some of these old JRPGs. And if you want to actually play a really story-rich game that's actually well written, that's the kind of way to go.
Yeah.
20, 30 years in the past.
Yeah, for sure. So it looks like the last thing we got is Ghost of Tsushima dev reveals plans for spin-off projects for the series. So Ghost of Yote signals a major shift for Sucker Punch as it signals the start of a new Sony franchise. Sucker Punch's plans for the franchise include more spin-off projects and a movie adaptation. I don't know how I feel about that because I don't think everything needs a movie.
Yeah, pump the brakes on the movie crap. It's either going to do really well or it's going to bomb. I just don't think it's necessary. There's too many adaptations that... I'm sorry, the medium of video games just works best. But yeah, it looks like the whole Ghost of is going to be a new series running forward, and whether that stays in Japan or whether they branch out, even if they stay in Japan, like there's a lot of good storytelling you can do. There's definitely a lot of history. And for this one, for Ghost of Yote, we're going up to Hokkaido, because I believe Yote is, if I'm not mistaken, the name of the mountain that's being shown. That's like the big mountain up in Hokkaido.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, it's a lot of stuff to see. This game takes place, I believe they say, what is it? 1603 is the year. So for like a quick little reference, essentially in the year 1600, which is like the last major battle of the Sengoku period, essentially the final death nail of it. That's like the Battle of Sekigahara, I believe, happened in 1600, and then officially in 1603, the year this game takes place, the Tokugawa shogunate officially comes to power, and it enters the whole shogunate period where Japan's kind of closed off to the world and stuff like that, except for they only trade with the Dutch. So at least I have like a quick little reference to when the game kind of takes place. But with it taking place in Hokkaido, I highly doubt it's going to interact with a whole lot of what's going on down there. I do, and I don't remember because I don't have it pulled up, I do know there were some people talking about there was some famous, well-renowned, was it samurai or sword guy? I can't remember his name.
I'm not
That
sure.
existed in this time, and some people were kind of hoping for it to kind of like take place and stuff like that. Some people were disappointed that we were going away from Jin Sakai from Ghost of Tsushima, but this game takes place in 1603. The Mongol invasion was in the 1200s, 1240s, something like that. So it's like a 350 or so years in the future type thing. So not expecting any kind of reference to that. But I mean, more or less, we know this game's coming out next year, and we got like a sneak peek of where the game's going to be at, your main character. But outside of that, kind of left, don't really know a whole about the actual story from what I saw with the trailer. It's just, and then I can't remember what the main protagonist, I can't remember what her name is. I thought they came out and said her name.
Yeah.
I know it was put out there, but I may be missing it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I had it pulled up.
Oh, Nate Fox.
No, it's not Nate Fox. It's Atsu.
That's her name?
It's Atsu. Sorry. ATSU. No.
Okay. All right.
But it just looks just as good as the original game. And I assume it's going to play very similar to the original game. To be fair, I don't think they needed to change up the whole gameplay a whole lot. You just, a new story, new location, new stuff to experience. Like they've got the formula down perfect. So, no. Essentially crossing your fingers they don't screw the game up. Hopefully got a new franchise, but hopefully Ubisoft didn't run it to the ground as well as their studio.
Yeah, I'm hoping for the best. I loved Ghost of Tsushima. I played it twice, played on PS4 and PS5.
But I did see some fun stuff. It's like, oh yeah, this is essentially the style of game that Assassin's Creed should have been. But Assassin's Creed just wants to, crap the bed. Like there's a better samurai game.
That way, I would have wanted to play it.
Yeah,
because I like that time period, and I just like all the Japanese culture stuff. And
yeah, a lot of people.
I'm not playing it now. I'm not giving them $70 for that game.
Yeah, but
they can go take a hike.
Yeah, but all they knew is it's coming out sometime next year. They did announce it still appears to be a way off. Amazon Prime animated anthology Secret Level is set to release a Ghost of Tsushima themed episode in one of its 15 planned episodes when it arrives in December. So for those that have a Prime and are interested in the what Secret Level does, hey, you can get a little insight sometime this December. I don't know. I assume they're just probably gonna drop all 15 episodes at once. But definitely a lot of good stuff to look forward to, and hopefully a promising new franchise. But I mean, fingers crossed, just because a lot of games you can make one really good game and then one that craps the bed, the next game. So no, you said Nate Fox. That was the creative director. Was Nate Fox and Jason Connell.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Clarify that from however many minutes ago it was.
Yeah. So, all right. Do we got anything else?
I don't know if it's anything. Cover? I don't know if there's anything that you wanted to pull up or talk about. I know there's obviously a lot of stuff has dropped and is dropping, so it feels like it's impossible to catch anything. So I didn't know if there was anything you were missing or
I mean, I think
any breaking news over on the Twitter X sphere.
I honestly have not even been on and checked anything. I did want to say, are you able to pull up what Metacritic has for Zelda right now?
Yeah, give me just a second.
Double check. Just out of curiosity, let the viewers and listeners know.
There it is. That's right, Metacritic.
Did want to mention that the mod Retro Chromatic is up for pre-order on GameStop right now, so you can buy that if you want to play your Game Boy or Game Boy Color games. It looks really awesome. I may be getting a review unit. I don't know. I had spoke with them a while ago through email, so I'm not sure, but it looks really, really cool. It's going to be an interesting new device to check out, and it's got brand new games coming out too that are Game Boy games that you can play on it. So
yeah. So for the Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, As of September 26th, it's got 91 critics with a average of 86. And based off 66 user scores, it's sitting at a 9.0.
9.0, okay.
Yeah, it's 66. I don't know how many people are on that side of it, but it looks like it's doing decently well with the ratings.
That's really good for a
Weirdly
2D Zelda.
enough, IGN has it a 9.10. Best Buy's got a 1.6 out of 5. I don't know who's rating stuff on Best Buy.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's
I wonder
wild.
how many ratings someone's 1.6 on 63 ratings over on Best Buy. I wonder if it'll let me see why people are upset about it. It's got 81 star reviews.
Huh.
I'm trying to, but I don't think people actually wrote anything about it. So who knows what people are upset about over on Best Buy. I can't tell why you don't like it if you don't write anything.
Yeah, it doesn't. Weird.
Doesn't help me know why you're upset with the game.
Right. It's interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of probably people that are in the process of reviewing or playing it. It's a Zelda game. It's not like the CDI games where it's just god awful bad. That's a really low bar to hit.
Yeah, it really is. And I guess the last thing you mentioned, the Incredibles are coming to Fortnite. So play Fortnite. That's interesting. Yeah, I think that's all. Been a good episode.
Yeah, I think there's, I don't know, might have some more to talk about. Might be old news by next week because there's a lot of stuff going on. But yeah. I mean, maybe we'll see some new stuff because obviously, for those of you that don't know, for sure over on the Twitter, we're gaming tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time. That's right.
What?
Or is it 8 p.m. Eastern time?
Oh, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Sorry, it's 6 p.m. Mountain time. That's where I'm at. 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll be live on the Twitch. Doing a little bit more of, we're in the process of playing through Gears of War, the Ultimate Edition for Gears 1. So we definitely have that going on. I don't know if there's any other streams that you've got planned coming up.
I'll probably stream Zelda this coming week. I just don't know when for sure yet. Maybe like Monday night. Well, I'll have to see when time comes, when we get a little bit closer. So,
okay. Yeah, and then this Sunday at should be noon Eastern on the Junction Network. Got another Anime Junction cast episode coming out, so definitely look forward to that as well. And then don't know if there's any last things you wanna pitch before we head off.
No, I think that's all. Be sure to check out the socials over there: Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, all that jazz. You can find it in the link tree in the description. We'll be live playing some Gears of War. I think we're going to play through all the games. We got a good chunk of the first game done. So if you want to check out the full playthrough of that, we'll be doing that. And then, I'll be streaming Zelda at some point this coming week. So
yeah, definitely look forward to that. And we will see you all. For those that are going to be on the stream over on Twitch, we'll see you all tomorrow. And for those that are just here for the podcast, we will see you next Friday.
Have a good one, everyone.
Peace out, everybody.